What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here. I'm back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including the WWE being under investigation, The Undertaker is returning, Roman Reigns' other cousin wants in on the WWE, a WCW wrestler passes away from COVID, Jake Roberts claims Bret Hart was a bad world champion, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now our first story looks at the WWE being under investigation. Now, the WWE's name has come up in the COVID-related investigation in Florida's Orange County. The Orange County Department of Health is requesting its COVID-19 strike team look into a number of businesses where the coronavirus may be a hotspot. According to a report by WFTV9 in Orange County, Florida, the agency said bars seem to be the biggest issue right now. With some news outlets reporting that there is a third wave of corona cases in the US, Florida's Orange County officials are attempting to slow down the spread. A number of bars and other businesses are being investigated, including 3 WWE facilities: WWE Full Sail, the Performance Center, and the Amway Arena. The WWE responded to the report, issuing the following statement. WWE is not open to the public, but rather operating on a closed set with only essential personnel in attendance. As part of an ongoing weekly testing protocols, Aventus Labs have administered more than 10,000 PCR tests to WWE performers, employees, production staff, and crew, resulting in only 1.5% positive cases as compared to the current national average of more than 5%. Additionally, extensive contact tracing takes place and impacted individuals are placed in a 14-day quarantine and then only cleared after they test negative. Now, we'll continue following this story, but it bears mentioning that the WWE seems to have a, shall we say, friendly relationship with the governor of Florida, as well as WWE Hall of Famer and President Donald Trump, which means little if anything will change with its current business operations in Florida, regardless of how the investigation turns out. Next up, The Undertaker is returning at Survivor Series. Now, this year's Survivor Series marks the 30 years since The Undertaker debuted in the WWE, and they plan on marking the occasion in a big way, including the return of the Dead Man. According to WrestleVotes, the upcoming 22nd November Survivor Series pay-per-view will be built around the 30th anniversary of The Undertaker, including him making a live appearance on the show. A source states, as of now, The Undertaker will not be wrestling at the event. Now, The Undertaker's debut at the 1990 Survivor Series took the WWF by storm as the Phenom steamrolled through the WWF, winning the championship the following year at the Survivor Series. There's no word on whether the WWE will honor that other debut at Survivor Series, the Gobbledygooker. The legendary debut saw a man, Hector Guerrero, dressed as a turkey hatch from an egg, leading to one of wrestling's most reviled moments and inspiring WrestleCrap's Gobbledygooker Award for awfulness in wrestling. Next up, the WWE is called out for lying about its quarterly earnings to fire wrestlers. A recent pat on the back by Stephanie McMahon led to a former WWE superstar accusing them about lying about its quarterly earnings to justify its substantial number of firings this year in April. Things got started after Stephanie McMahon acknowledged the WWE winning an award from PR News, saying, "So proud of the WWE community team and all their hard work to make WWE the 2020 Corporation of the Year at this year's PR News, CSR, and Nonprofit Awards. WWE's mission is to put smiles on faces, and it could not be done without the hard work and passion of this incredible team." Jack Hager, aka former superstar Jack Swagger, tweeted, "Laughing my ass off. I guess lying about over $37 million in quarterly profits so you can fire over 300 people during a worldwide pandemic is a category for an award." Hager, who now works for WWE's rival AEW, was of course referring to the WWE's Black Wednesday layoffs and releases of 15th April, which saw a slew of wrestlers and WWE employees told that they were being let go due to the WWE's financial woes due to the coronavirus. At the time, no other major wrestling company, including AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, let its wrestlers or employees go, so when the WWE posted massive profits afterwards, there were a number of complaints of them using the pandemic as an excuse to cut its payroll. Hager tagged 2020 Democratic presidential primary candidate Andrew Yang in the tweet, with Yang, who has been critical of the WWE's labor practices, hinted that they may be investigated if Joe Biden wins the presidency, responding, "Time will change under new leadership." Do you think the WWE faces a potential challenge to the way it classifies wrestlers as independent contractors rather than employees? Next up, Roman Reigns' cousin wants to join WWE. And the Anoa'i family is undoubtedly wrestling's greatest dynasty, as it includes dozens of current and retired superstars who have made their impact on the squared circle. Now another member of the Anoa'i family, Lance Anoa'i, is ready to make his mark in the WWE along with his cousins Jay and Jimmy Uso, as well as the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Lance has worked in a number of indie promotions as well as smaller promotions such as Major League Wrestling, but he has one goal in mind, the WWE. Speaking with Post Wrestling's Andrew Thompson, Lance explained, "Man, like I said, other than the WWE, I don't want to be signed unless the money is right. Being on the independents is so much easier. You can create your own schedule, you work where you want to work, you're not being told to do this or do that. But WWE, that's the goal, because I feel like anything after WWE, once you make it to WWE, say they let anybody go, you're right back on the indies just making money, just the way you did, and I feel like you're more profitable and, yeah man." Lance seems comfortable with where he's at, but like many wrestlers, the WWE remains his dream job. Eagle-eyed fans may recall seeing Lance wrestle Shane McMahon in WWE last year. Next up, a Karrion Kross update. Karrion Kross caught a bad break when he won the NXT Championship from Keith Lee, only to get injured in the match, forcing him to relinquish the title. Recently, Kross's on-screen manager and girlfriend Scarlett Bordeaux posted a video on Instagram of Kross training for his comeback from a shoulder separation. There's no timetable on a return, but judging from what looks to be an intense workout, Kross isn't wasting a moment of his time getting ready for his return. Next up, Jake Roberts says Bret Hart was a terrible world champion, and Bret responds. Now, we often discuss praise from past and present superstars for two-time WWE Hall of Famer Bret the Hitman Hart, but not everyone is gushing with praise for Hart's work. You may recall Jake the Snake Roberts' appearance on the Flip the Script podcast earlier this year, where he dismissed both Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart's return as WWF champion, citing their small stature, and you check the books, man. Check the books. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were the worst champions of all. They did not put money in the bank. The Hitman recently responded to Roberts' rhetoric during an episode of his podcast, Confessions of a Hitman, referring to Jake the Snake's comments as stupid before explaining he made some reference that we didn't draw, which is always, I don't know if that's a fair view. If you look at any of the WrestleManias, WrestleMania 12, you can't tell me, if you look at the crowd, that I didn't draw. I mean, it was huge buy rates and it was a packed arena. Even Wembley Stadium with the British Bulldog was over 80,000 fans there. And to try and throw out, "Hey, you never drew," I wrestled in front of 100,000 people in India for WWE in '94. We drew, but maybe in the US you could argue that I didn't draw in the way that Hulk Hogan drew. But I mean, who did? Who drew like Hulk Hogan did? What do you guys think of Jake's claims and Bret's response? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, unfortunately some sad news, as a veteran wrestler has passed away from COVID. Now, another wrestler has passed away due to the coronavirus, with Wrestling Inc. and Tennessee's Daily Times noting that Johnny Meadows, aka Johnny Condron, passed away from coronavirus-related complications. He was nearly 60 years old and not only worked as a professional wrestler, but as a country music and bluegrass artist. We'd like to send our condolences to Mr. Condron's friends and family. But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.